Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Java by MK. In the first part, I have explained how these two services work. This microservice user works, how this microservice department works, what are the dependencies that we need, and what is Eureka service. Why and we have registered these two services to service registry, and also how user microservices communicating with department. So in this part I will explain how API gateway is working. Also starting with API gateway, you can see these port numbers I have mentioned here in all this microservice. So this API gateway service is having 9191 port. Okay, so all the any request that comes from user to user to this to any of the microservice, it will first come to API gateway. Means the request first comes to a API gateway, and API gateway based on the kind of request. Suppose it is user and any API which belongs to user, so it will API will point that API gateway will point that to user microservice. If suppose it is department, then it will point to department microservice. So I already have the API gateway in my system. So this is cloud gateway. So let me quickly first share what are the dependencies that we have, then I will explain the later part. So you can see that the this is having Spring Cloud Starter Gateway. Okay, Spring Cloud Starter Gateway, and other one Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka client. So this is also a part of client Eureka client. This is not a and we already have a Eureka server. So and the other one is Spring Cloud Starter config. You have seen this Spring Cloud Starter config in other users microservice and department microservice as well. So this is another microservice I will explain later. Let me just quickly. So this is the config server. So this is what this all the common properties configuration that belongs to all the microservice, including history and all the microservice. We can have a common configuration file properties that we call as config server. I will explain that part later. So first part is API gateway only. Let's focus on API gateway. So API gateway is nothing, it is just a place where the request comes, and from here only we will send the response back to the. So okay, so request comes here, and from here only request we send the response. Okay, so how this one is working I will explain here. So see, first dependencies I have explained. We also have histrisk. Histrisk is a circuit breaker. Histrisk is a dashboard which is a circuit breaker. I will explain that part later. So let's quickly see this thing. See, first of all we will route. We will see Spring. First one is Spring application name API gateway and Spring Cloud gateway, and we will put the routes here. Okay, so you can see we have two routes ID, one for user service and second for department service. Okay, so in the ID we have URI, and this is load balancer, and this is user service. Predicates will be path users. So anything that starts with user and could be anything, any parameter it could have, any doesn't matter, but it should start with users. Okay, so we can see in our users project, you can see that 1 minute. See, users. So this one is request mapping is users. So anything that starts with users will go directly to route directly to user microservice. Okay, and we also have filter here, which is a circuit breaker. Circuit breaker, suppose I will suppose users microservices, if microservice is down. Okay, suppose user microservice is down, and from API gateway the request goes to user microservice. So we need to have some fallback URI. Okay, so if there is will be any circuit, if user service will be down, it will send, we will call the fallback URI instead of this. Okay, and similarly for department service, we have all any microservice, any API that starts with departments. If there is a request with departments, then it will directly go to departments. Okay, and again we have department service fallback also. So let me first go to this main class. Okay, so you can see we have enable Eureka client, enable historisk. Okay, enable Eureka client is uh, it is a client. Basically I have explained here that all the microservice that you see is a part, is needs to be registered to service registry. It should be a part of Netflix Eureka. It should, all the microservices here should be part of the micro, so should be a part of this. So in the previous part, as it was clear that we have this also. See this true, this is the, this is the way we register your application microservice to Eureka. And we have this timeout also, 4000 millisecond. If this 4000 milliseconds pass, then we will send the fallback. Okay, now we have fallback controller. So see, if this API is being called, we will so user service is taking longer than expected, please try again later. And this one is department service taking longer than expected, please try again later. Okay, so this is clear. So let's try to use this. So you can see this is 9191. Okay, so this 9191 is API gateway, so I'm using the port of API gateway. Okay, see we got the response. Okay, okay, and the next one is for users. Okay, this is for user. And 9191, see earlier we were using 9001, now we are using 9191. So this one is API gateway. Okay, this one is API gateway, and we are calling the microservice users from API gateway this time. See, we are getting the response here also. Okay, so in the next part I will explain history dashboard. Thank you for watching.